Hey everybody, this is Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff, and it's a little bit late at night here. I'm again in a hotel room in France. I don't want to be too loud so I don't disturb the other peoples here. But anyhow, what I have are two different Galaxy S5 devices. This is the new version that just came out, the Korean LTE-A version, the G906S with the Snapdragon 805 SoC. Mind you, the very first device that has the Snapdragon 805 SoC inside of it, and it also has a Quad HD display. And then next to it, we have the normal vanilla Galaxy S5. So now that I've had a chance to play around with this a little bit, I want to talk about some of the differences, some of the performance differences. I want to talk about the battery life and also talk about the displays a little bit. If you're curious where I got this from 28mobile.com. What's really nice about 28mobile.com is that they have a 28-day money-back guarantee. And since this is a Korean model, it's not easy to get just anywhere. A lot of people might be instantly turned off that this is a Korean model, but you don't have to worry because it has a couple of LTE bands that work in Europe, and it also has an LTE band that works in the United States as well, and 3G works as well. I find that the Koreans are a little bit more generous, so they give you two batteries instead of just one, and they also give you a little dock that charges that second battery, so it's a really nice kit. If you want an exclusive look at the Snapdragon 805 SoC, you can pick one of these up from 28mobile.com. So without much further ado, let's get into talking about these two devices. Now, what's immediately apparent about these is that these look exactly the same. The only difference that I can see between these two is that this one has a gold band around it. It's actually really subtle. The normal Galaxy S5 white version has a silver band. So you've got a band around the sides here, and you've also got a band that's around the home button as well. And I have to say that I do like the appearance of the gold a little bit more than the silver. It gives it kind of a more premium look. Also, what's interesting is that this dot pattern is a little bit more apparent on the G906S than it is on the normal Galaxy S5. That doesn't really matter whatsoever. I just thought that was interesting. It's got the exact same camera. We got the same sensor here. It's also got the same software inside. It's also got the same battery size, 2800 milliamp hours. And that's the first thing that I want to talk about is the battery. I did a full hour-long review on the Galaxy S5. You can check out the link in the description if you want to see that full review, because I'm not going to be doing a full in-depth review on this device. It's pretty much the same device. The differences I will talk about right now. I've done a lot of research about the battery life on the Galaxy S5. XDAdevelopers.com is a forum where everyone is logging their battery life on the Galaxy S5, and I see that people get through the day pretty easily, and the more average screen time that I am seeing is about 5 hours, 5.5 hours. I was getting around 5 hours on my Galaxy S5. When I found out that the G906S had the exact same size battery, I panicked. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's just not gonna be good with a Quad HD display, because I've been playing around a lot with the G3 and also the Oppo Find 7, and I'm finding that the Quad HD display, at least for LCD panel technology, it tends to drain the battery more. So of course I was like, oh no, it's going to be a worthless device with the exact same size battery. But luckily, I was able to get through the day without any problem. This is actually extending into 2 days. And I got 5.5 hours of on-screen time. This is not something I expected whatsoever, but what it looks like is that it's doing pretty much exactly the same as the normal Galaxy S5. I'm sure this is intentional. I'm sure Samsung has tweaked it in such a way that with that same battery, it can last on these better specs. So that's quite nice, quite interesting. So if you were worried that on the S805 with a Quad HD display with the same battery that you're going to get worse battery life, no, really, no, not really. If you want to know what I do during a normal day, it's actually a very heavy normal day for me. I use my phone as a mobile office, so mostly I have this on automatic brightness. I do everything from writing emails to doing tons of social media, watching YouTube videos, watching lots of Netflix, playing some games. So indeed, I did use this pretty heavily through the day and a half that I used it. It was also on Wi-Fi and on LTE. So I didn't chintz out in any way on the battery. I also didn't use any power saving modes. Everything is stock Android. I'm not cheating in any way, shape, or form. So actually pretty impressive. I was pretty frightened there for a while about a Quad HD display and battery life, but this device seems to do all right. So checking out performance a little bit, I want to point out some specs. Both of these have a quad-core CPU, 2.45 gigahertz measured speed. except for we have the Snapdragon 805 here and the 801AC here. Also, what's different is the GPU. This has the Adreno 420 GPU, higher clocked. This is the Adreno 330 on the regular model. What's also interesting about the G906S is that it has 3 gigabytes of RAM instead of just 2. And also it has 32 gigabytes of internal storage instead of just the 16 that we have on the normal version. By default, it comes with 32 gigabytes of internal storage. So what I want to do now is to look at smoothness of the interface of both of these. I'm underneath developer options and I'm going to select GPU rendering profile and show on screen as bars. So what this will let me do is see how many frames each of these are dropping. We've got this green line here. Anything that's above this green line here represents a dropped frame. So going out of this, we're going to go ahead and just go about the launchers here. Now the interesting thing is that even though we have the S805 SoC inside of this device here, we're not seeing very much more smoothness to speak of. We're still dropping frames. With TouchWiz, that honestly does not surprise me. I would say that sometimes it's just a little bit smoother. We've got a few drop frames here. I'm counting 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we see on here. So I do see just a tad bit of performance leap, but it's really nothing to write home about, and you may not notice it at all. What I do notice, though, is that this device is a little bit faster here and there at opening applications. Let's go ahead and find that infamous gallery that seems to have quite a bit of lag when you open it. So we're going to open them at the same time. Dink. And this one is just a little bit faster. We're also going to close the app at the same time. This one usually is just a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and do that again. Bink. So you can see indeed this one is faster. It closes faster as well. Also, the camera is more quick to execute with the S805. So we've got both devices in hand. We're going to tap on the cameras. Bink. And you can see that this one finished just a little bit faster. For good measure, we will do it again. Bink. So done, done. So we do get just a tad bit of a performance increase here. It's not something that would make me go and buy this version over the normal Galaxy S5. But yes, it's just a little bit faster, just a little bit more of a performance increase. But honestly, don't expect much from the launcher. It's just never been smooth. Now for game performance, what I notice, I'm kind of just playing around with both of these. This is the 805 version on the top, and then we've got the 801 on the bottom. I'm just pushing around this car a little bit. This is inside of Asphalt 8, and I notice that it's just a little bit smoother, even despite that Quad HD display. We're not dropping as many frames. So it does handle games pretty well. Now on the bottom we have the LG G3, which also has a Quad HD display, and I just want to do the same thing. But you can see on the G3 is that it really seems to struggle when we're doing the same thing, same graphic, same Asphalt 8 game. It's really just not smooth at all in comparison, and kind of stutters here and there as well. So while this game is not perfectly smooth even on this device, it is a lot smoother than what we're seeing on the LG G3. It's definitely not stuttering the same. So I think the Quad HD experience is more enjoyable, more playable. And I have no idea if you are able to tell on camera the difference here, but it does feel quite different, the gameplay with the 805. You've got a lot of jitteriness, a lot of stutters. It's an okay experience, but it just doesn't impress at all on the G3. Now here we have the normal Galaxy S5, and I have to say that the gameplay on the 805 version of the SoC feels very akin to playing on a 1080p device with the 801AC. So indeed, those new specs do help in the gameplay department with that Quad HD display. Now I normally don't like looking at benchmarks. I much more prefer the real world, but I decided to look at benchmarks anyway. This is Antutu. You can see that the Galaxy S5 805 does a little bit better than the normal Galaxy S5, so we still see some performance increases here. And you can also see our quadrant scores with the 805 just a little bit higher. Now, GFX benchmark is the benchmark that I'm most interested in. We are looking at a couple of high-level tests here. We have Manhattan on-screen test 1080p, then we've got 1080p off-screen T-Rex and T-Rex 1080p off-screen. And with the 805, you can see that it scores just a little bit lower, but really, for frame rates, it's about the same. It's matching about the same. And then if we look at off-screen, because we do have a better GPU, you can see that we're doing a lot better than what we have on the original Galaxy S5. Then for T-Rex, it's the same thing. We have very similar frame rates, except for the 805 is just a little bit worse. And again, with the off-screen, you can see that performance boost. Now here is where I feel that the sheer amount of pixels affects the performance of this device. It does indeed have a lot more pixels to push around. So you can see that it does affect the on-screen frame rates. Now I'm not sure what to say yet by way of throttling or thermal throttling. That's something that I need to continue testing. But you can see here with the 805 with the Quad HD display, it really does give the original Galaxy S5 a run for its money. Now bringing the G3 and the Find 7 into the frame, we can see the differences as well. These all have Quad HD displays, but we've got the benefit of the S805 SoC here. And for the on-screen frame rates and especially the off-screen frame rates, we're seeing the big leap in performance here. And as you might have noticed, what we have with the Find 7 is a little bit higher scores across the board here, and that seems to be because the G3 has some thermal throttling that's in action that seems to be bringing down the performance. So as we are sitting here looking at all three devices and their respective scores, one thing that might be obvious is the look of these displays. That's the last thing I want to talk about, is the display on this particular device. You can see that with both of these LCD Quad HD displays, they just don't get very bright. I'm hoping that as time goes by, this will improve. I'm sure it will improve. But the one that's sticking out like a sore thumb is the Galaxy S5. It gets so much brighter. It's easy to see in direct sunlight. I was so sad thinking that the Quad HD panels just might be very dim, but no, AMOLED seems to be a very different story. So just for your information on the market right now, what we have for the LCD displays just don't get very bright for Quad HD, but the AMOLED does. So here again we have the S805 version of the Galaxy S5, and here is the normal version of the phone. As I was just talking about brightness, one thing that I wanted to point out is that this device, the S805, seems to get the same brightness as what we had on the Galaxy S5 original. So both very bold, bright displays. So when I got this phone, the first question that I had to ask myself is, can I tell the difference between Quad HD and the 1080p display? And my answer is definitely yes, for a very good reason. What we have here is 1080p, but it's diamond matrix pentile, so it's not actually as subpixel dense as an LCD display that has an RGB stripe arrangement. While it is 1080p, this 1080p just did not look as sharp as some other displays. But the nice thing is, though, now when you boost this 1080p up to Quad HD, even though this is still that diamond matrix pentile, it's now so pixel dense that I can't tell that it's pentile anymore. And that's actually really wonderful because this has bothered me for so many years. It's so dense now that it's hard to tell at all. I can't even tell anymore that it has a pentile display. When you look at this, you really can tell the difference if you are sensitive to the pentile type of arrangements. So yes, I think it actually makes a pretty big difference. If you are not sensitive to it and you're like, Erica, I have no idea what you're talking about, that's really great. I am happy for you because it's not so fun being able to see the teeniest little details. It's just OCD driving. But yes, some people really can tell the difference and others won't. So if you're one of those people and you really have no idea what I'm talking about right now, I don't think that the Galaxy S5 with a Quad HD display is going to make any bit of difference to you. So now I want to talk a little bit about the calibration differences that I noticed between both of these devices. I did some measurements for the standard mode and also for the cinema mode. If you can see on the displays here, I'm just displaying a white image, and I can't really tell what the white balance is going to look like on this camera, but if you can see on this one, it has more of a greenish bluish white to it, and this one looks a little bit more neutral. It definitely has more red in it. One thing that I did not like about the original Galaxy S5 is that the white balance just was really weird. It had a greenish blue cast to it, and also the color temperature was a bit cooler than I'd like it to be. So on the Galaxy S805, the white balance is a little bit better. We don't have that really bluish greenish cast. And also the color temperature is a bit warmer. So that's nice, and I think that it does make a lot of difference in the way that colors look. But talking about colors, and of course keep in mind that this is standard mode, they're very, very oversaturated. I don't want to get into a lot of detail with this because I did a full review on the Galaxy S5. I will actually put a link in the description so that you can get to that video, and also it will be time coded to where I start talking about the display on the Galaxy S5 so you can see that as well in depth, because I don't want to go into depth about it again. So what I found with the standard modes is that they are so similarly calibrated, except for the white balance and the color temperature. They're so similarly calibrated that it's hard for me to find any differences. So that's why I say just go see the link in the description. But where I do see some differences are in the cinema mode. Now, I don't know what the big deal about the cinema mode is. It's a mode that Samsung made. It's not necessarily meant to be accurate. It's just to give it an effect of less saturation. But I don't think that Samsung ever meant it to be color accurate. I think that that's other media's talking about the color accuracy of the cinema mode. So the cinema modes have never been color accurate, and still they're not color accurate. Looking at both of these triangles, you can see that we have an inner smaller triangle and then a larger triangle. What these triangles are is the range of colors that these displays are able to show. So the inner one is called the sRGB gamut, or the standard RGB gamut. Now this gamut is literally the range of colors that the internet shows. It's the range of colors that Android devices are meant to show. It's also the range of colors that Windows operating system is meant to show. So it's a standard range of colors that all devices are supposed to display. And then you have Samsung, who has a wide gamut display. So when you have a wide gamut display and you have content that's meant to be in a smaller range of colors, what it does is it stretches all those colors outward, and as you do that, it oversaturates them. Now with the cinema mode, if they wanted it to be color accurate, they should take these primary colors here, the red, green, and blue, and they should move it down to the sRGB triangle, because still you can see it's oversaturated. And also these dots should be in a straight line and evenly spaced. You can see that they are doing some interesting color tweaking. Here they are pushing the green out a little bit further. And also on the S805, I noticed that the yellows look a little bit more orangey. The yellows actually look a little bit nicer, I think, on the S805. And also you can see that the red is stretched out a little bit further as well. They didn't put the reds back where they should be. You can see that the reds are a little bit more where they should be, a little bit more reasonable on the original Galaxy S5. So there are a little bit of differences here and there. And of course, we can see that on both of them, the gamma is still too high. Gamma should be around 2.2, and Samsung just likes to jack up the gamma because it increases saturation. So cinema mode accuracy debunked. With this kind of a display, what I think it comes down to is whether you like the colors or not. What I'm telling you is based off of measurements, but I'm not telling you not to like the look of the display. That's perfectly okay if you do. My job is just to explain why it's not accurate. So colors are either very oversaturated in the standard mode or they're interesting in the cinema mode. As for overall calibration, I really can't say which one is better because both of them are not accurate, but I really do prefer the white balance and also the color temperature of the S805. The whites just look a lot nicer. It's easier to read web pages. It's easier to look at whites in general. So this is all I want to say about these devices. I think that the S805 will be for you if you want the latest and the greatest. I don't think it's a really worthy successor because it's really not a successor of the Galaxy S5. It's just kind of a rip-off, a stab in the gut and punch in the face to people who bought the Galaxy S5. I know we're going to be seeing a lot of other devices with the S805 SoC inside of them, and I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing even better performance increases as time goes by because I have nothing to compare it to. I don't know how well this is performing right now. But I do like it, and if you have the money for one and you don't have the Galaxy S5 yet, yeah, I would totally go with this one. It's got 3 gigabytes of RAM, it's got a much better display that should have been on it in the beginning. The battery life really is the same. The performance is a little bit better, so yeah, it also comes with 2 batteries and an extra charger, and it should work in Europe and it should work in the United States on AT&T. So this is a nice phone. I have to say that I do like it better than the original. After seeing the display on this one, I'm just like, no, 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 no. Don't want to look at that. No mores. No mores. So this one, I like it much better indeed. So thank you everybody for watching. This has been Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. If you have any further questions about these devices, please ask them in the comment section below. I will not be doing a full in-depth review on this one because I did a full in-depth review on this device and it's very, very similar, so check out the link in the description. And you should be able to find my time-coded, literally hour-long review talking about everything that I could possibly think of. And it's actually, I think, what time is it now? Yeah, that actually is the real time. It's 4:41 a.m. I spent a long time doing these things, ranting and talking, and now I'm just delirious. I'm going to start getting the nighttime jollies if I don't go to bed right now. Night, night, everybody!